Mrs. Canary has been through some rather challenging times recently. It all started in late February. I noticed that she wasn't really herself. She looked a bit tired, she had lost a few feathers, her eyes were a bit dry looking, and she was breathing a bit more obviously than she should be. So we took her to the vet and he noticed that she had a swollen abdomen. We weren't quite sure what was wrong with her, so she was put on antibiotics for around a week and she seemed to improve. Then suddenly she took a turn for the worse. One day, after having a fly around in the living room, she suddenly couldn't catch her breath. It was obvious she was having a very difficult time breathing. 20 minutes after this video was shot, she was at the vet's. And things didn't look good at all. She had to be administered oxygen and antibiotics immediately, but we still didn't know what was wrong. She stayed with the vet for a week and thankfully had improved quite a bit by the time we picked her up. The bad news was that she could be suffering from a case of psittacosis, also known as parrot fever or ornithosis. Psittacosis is quite a serious illness, not only for the birds that are unfortunate enough to contract it, but also because it can be transmitted to humans, causing serious symptoms such as pneumonia, fever, joint pains, diarrhea, conjunctivitis, nosebleeds, and a low level of white blood cells. It can even cause complications such as endocarditis, liver inflammation, inflammation of the heart's muscle, and neurologic complications. Although the fatality rate is low, less than 1%, people have died from psittacosis. Luckily, it stopped being contagious a while after starting the antibiotics. Even so, for a while I had to keep Mrs. Canary away from the other birds and take extra special care of her. Weeks passed, things got back to normal. She had lots of energy again and she set about making a nest. But the drama wasn't over yet. A few days before Easter, she completely lost her balance in a matter of hours. She was stumbling about the place. She couldn't stay up on her perch. She was falling over. I didn't know what was wrong with her. I thought it might be a neurological problem, seeing as she looked very confused as well. But as it was nighttime, it was too late to call the vet. After a bit of reading, I realized that she was suffering from all of the symptoms of egg binding. So I kept her nice and warm during the night, and the next morning I gave her a warm bath and some calcium, and we were just about to bring her to the vet when, with a bit of effort and a lot of pushing, she laid an egg. Over the next 24 hours, most of the symptoms disappeared. I think that the egg had been pushing on some nerves and she was kind of losing the ability to use her legs. She had absolutely no interest in the first egg, but when the second egg came a few days later, she decided to sit on it. Her loyal husband is taking care of her, she seems quite happy, and her 45-day treatment on doxycycline for the possible psittacosis came to an end yesterday. Meroncito, the pigeon who can't fly, had to be put on a course of doxycycline as well, as he had been sneezing a little bit, and in fact he might have been the one who infected Mrs. Canary, because pigeons can be asymptomatic carriers of psittacosis. This hasn't dampened his enthusiasm for adventures, and he likes to get into all sorts of forbidden places when I'm not looking. The birds also recently acquired a full-spectrum bulb, bringing the sunshine inside and making sure everyone is getting their recommended daily amount of vitamin D. And now let's take a walk on the wild side, and I'll leave you with Mr. Blackbird and this year's batch of babies.